Welcome to the Washdown Podcast, episode 162. And today's guest is Josh Snyder. Now, Josh is a Marine veteran, and he is the founder of Bloc Life Inc., which is a 501c3 nonprofit that serves veteran and first responders and disabled communities. He currently serves as the executive director of that, and he is also the owner of FITNKC. We'll leave those links in the description below. We had a great conversation today. It's fantastic. Hope you guys enjoy it. So here you go, episode 162 with Josh Snyder.
All crews stand by for emergency traffic. All crews stand by for emergency traffic.
That's the unit with the Mayday. Go ahead with your traffic.
Trigger.
Let's go. Let's go. I think our parents resorted to the paintball gun a little bit faster than that. Or they were just like, get the fuck out of the house if you're going to do that shit.
Yeah, there was some of that. We didn't have paintball guns. Really, I think it was still really new.
That was still new?
And nobody really had them. But everybody had a BB gun.
Dude, BB guns were the shit, though.
They were.
They were so, like, back in the day, like, they tried to, like, trick those things out. Like, single-shot pellet guns.
Oh, yeah.
You felt like a sniper.
You did, yeah.
You were like, yeah, Carlos Hathcock.
Now you got those air rifles.
Dude.
So my son saved up his money when he was still a teenager, and he bought one. And, man, that thing was awesome.
Yeah.
It was fun to shoot. It was cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And it would kill a rabbit at 150 yards.
Nice.
God dang.
Nice.
Yeah.
I need one of those for my front yard. I have a bird feeder that me and my little girls, we watch the birds eat all the food, and they think it's pretty cool, but the fucking squirrels, man.
Yeah.
And then my wife is like, do you know what people think when you have a air assault pistol pointed out the window shooting at, squirrels in the middle of Kansas City? And I'm like, yeah, try to be a little more tactful than that.
It's an air rifle, though. It's pretty much silent. I mean,
silent.
come on.
All you hear is the thunk.
She's like, why are you doing barrel rolls in the middle of our living room? And I'm like, I'm preparing.
Yeah.
Got to sneak up on them.
You never know when someone's going to come knocking in the middle of the night.
You never know. Things go bump in the
Yeah.
night. You got to be prepared.
But that little air rifle he bought, and I want to say he only paid like $180 for it.
They're cheap.
And
They're not expensive.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Squirrels
which-
and rabbits.
Don't stand a chance.
And my parents live in the country, so like if they're outside the fence, they're cool
Yeah.
for the most part. But inside the fence,
Free game.
I was at Academy Sports the other day before Rachel and I went out of town. I had to pick up some stuff, and saw they have a bunch of airsoft stuff there, and I thought of you.
Got an arsenal. Just see his wall. He's got all of his pistols lined out.
Yeah.
back when we were in our 20s, we had another friend, and we had airsoft wars. Like you had to have one in your car.
Did you wear iPro?
No.
Come on,
We're
man.
80s kids, man.
We're 80s kids. Lead-based paint,
That's right.
metal seat belts. Still got
Yeah.
the scar.
We didn't wear helmets when we rode our bikes.
No, nonsense.
If you got hit in the ie, you should have ducked.
You should have ducked. You should have closed your eye. You know I was shooting, right?
So like I was at his house one time, and I was getting in my car, and I hear tink, and I looked up, and he's got his airsoft gun. He's shooting at me. So I grabbed mine real quick, and it was one of the luckiest shots because he was probably 50 yards, and he was up on the second level. I pulled up the little pistol. Boop. I heard, ow, fuck!
Got
I
him.
hit him right in the forehead.
Got him. Sit down, son.
Yeah.
We got in trouble one night at the apartment complex. Somebody called the cops on us.
Whoops. Yeah, it's one of those, like, the airsoft. The pistol's over there. I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Cops were yelling at us. We're like, for what?
It used to be, I don't know if it still is, but it used to be huge. Like they used to, especially overseas in Europe, they have like huge airsoft battles with thousands of people.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're all over YouTube.
Yeah.
I've seen the ones on YouTube with like the guy that has like the sniper.
Yeah.
Like the airsoft. Dude,
Yeah.
his videos, I'm just like,
They're
"Dude,
awesome.
that's fucking
And
sexy.
I like it when we start shooting the cheaters over and over and over. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
right?
I'm on my phone. I'm like, hit him in the nuts. Hit him in the nuts. Teach that
Come on,
guy
you
a
can
lesson.
see a little neck right
Yeah.
there. Come on, give me that.
Make it hurt.
Just a little sting.
That's like 4 or 5 shots. He's hit the guy 4 or 5 times, and he's just like, oh, I didn't get hit.
yeah. Come on.
No.
Now. This is all on camera. homie. Get
we're-
off the field.
Now we're going to make it hurt. I gave you the opportunity. We were nice.
We were nice. Now go home.
Well, Josh, thanks for coming on the podcast, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate it. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Awesome. Thanks for having me. First off, gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here and get away from, my other two jobs for, a couple hours, hopefully. Name is Josh Snyder. First off, I'm a father. I have two beautiful little girls and a beautiful, very talented physical therapy wife. I am the executive director of a nonprofit known as Bloc Life. It's a nonprofit that I founded back in 2018. We're geared towards serving the veterans, first responders, and the disabled individuals of our world. And then also March of this year, I opened up my for-profit gym, FITNKC. So kind of dueling entrepreneur, solopreneur kind of an idea. And coming out of the Marine Corps from 2013, found myself in a little bit of a limbo kind of a time of, what do you do? How do you do? Not necessarily doing all the right things during that transition time, and all those stories of not great transitions out of the military are true. Went through all of that fun stuff for a little bit and kind of figured out fitness is this thing that grounds me. I actually started my fitness journey inside of the Marine Corps, taking care of my battalions out of Standard Marines. And then, kind of progressing that into a little bit more of a CrossFit coaching, CrossFit ownership kind of an idea. And the whole time kind of just understanding that this is for me and my mental health, so that I'm doing it. And then seeing my boys struggle and knowing that this is something that they could benefit from as well. So kind of helped me find the nonprofit. Been doing this fitness thing for about 12 and a half years now. I was originally a personal trainer. I think NASM or ISSA or whatever my first certification was. I got that while I was still in the Marine Corps. Moved back to the Midwest, originally from Iowa. So moved back to the Midwest in 2014. Operated a gym here in Kansas City for about 8.5 years. Took a little break, helped some other people run their gyms for about a year, and then founded my gym, and we opened our doors this year.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. My wife's like, what are you going to do today? And I'm like, everything probably. Yeah. I don't do well with idle time. They say like the devil's playground is idle hands.
Yes.
I very rarely have idle hands. Very rarely.
So next time she asks you, you just got to pull out the old pinky and the brain line.
First she would say, what? And then second she would say, you're an idiot.
It's pretty standard wife answer.
Pretty standard.
Yeah.
She's definitely read the book.
Yeah. I think I hear that from my wife at least once a day. It's like, because I send her memes and stuff on Instagram, and she's like, what is wrong with you? Or I'll do a movie quote, and it's the same thing.
I'm thinking of you.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing wrong with me. I'm thinking of you, and I want to share in my joy.
Exactly. And somebody has already said it better than I could ever have.
Right.
So,
why would I say it again?
Yeah. So,
That's where I
of
get
course,
lucky.
I'm going to quote Talladega Nights.
See, I can't do the movie quotes to my wife, but I can send song lyrics, and then she'll finish them out. That's kind of
Nice.
That's kind of what we do.
You guys got a
That's
little
fun.
duo
But
going on there.
But she's 7 years older than I am too.
So do you respect your elders?
I keep my thumb on her. One day she'll wake up and figure out she's better than me and can do way better than me, and she'll leave.
That's the problem
so I keep
right
my
there.
thumb on her.
That's that's the problem.
Keep knocking down that self-esteem.
I always try to. My wife got new glasses recently, and I was kind of like slow playing, like, yeah, you look cute in your old ones, all that fun stuff. I don't want her to get better eyesight because she's gonna look back at me and she's gonna be like, really? I made that choice 6 years ago, and I'm like, I'm sorry, honey, you're bought and paid for now.
Yeah. Too late to give her back now.
Yeah, right. My grandfather taught me a long time ago it's cheaper to keep her, so we'll stay with this one for as long as we can.
So what brought on you wanting to start the nonprofit? How'd you get involved with that?
Yeah, so 2017, I was running one of the gyms here in downtown Kansas City, and we got done with a workout during that week, and we had done something where our handprints were on the floor. We generally use chalk in our environment to kind of increase our grip aid with whatever we're doing that day. And there was some chalk handprint on the floor, and I was cleaning the floors on a Sunday, and I was just kind of cruising around. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool to see like a physical representation of like people showing up, right? And showing up for themselves and the long-term benefit of taking care of themselves and doing hard things and all that fun stuff. And at the same time, I had continuously run into, he was a Army Ranger, homeless veteran, who was always sitting on the corner, 20th and I was like Broadway or something like that. And he always held up a sign that said smile, right? And I thought it was really freaking cool. So I stopped and get to know him a little bit. His name was Aaron. And come to find out, Aaron, through certain circumstances, made some not so great choices and was currently going through cancer treatment and really didn't have a place to like call home and, kind of avoided hard conversations because what was going on back in his personal life didn't kind of mesh with like his therapy and what he needed to do to get through cancer. And I kind of thought like, who would show up for somebody like Aaron, right? Who would show up to like do something really freaking hard for somebody like Aaron? Aaron needs our support. Aaron, Army Ranger, been through the worst of it, right? But I thought there's a chalk handprint on the floor. So that's somebody who showed up. And then my brain just made a little connection. I was like, well, if I can get a community of people to show up, right? A gym, a CrossFit gym, right? Any gym, right? Which is community driven, right? If I can get them to show up, that gives me the ability to then give a little message that says, hey, how about we show up for people who aren't us, right? How about we show up for people like Aaron? How about we show up for the veterans who are struggling right now with transitions, right? And my transition was always very present in my brain. It was, not too far off from my transition out of the Marine Corps. And I thought to myself, why don't we do something stupid and simple? To just do a little fundraiser, and maybe we can help people. And I think the first year we did like a cold weather gear drive or something like that. And we did a workout called 7 minutes of burpees. And in the CrossFit world, this is a notoriously like just shit workout, right? It's 7 minutes and you're just doing burpees. And burpees are one of those things where it's like, it's not necessarily a physical thing. Like, yeah, you're going to get tired. Yeah, it's hard, but your mind just starts chirping. You get to like 3 minutes in and your mind's like, bro, you got to slow down. Bro, you got to stop. Bro, this sucks, right? And you're like, yeah, I remember all of those thoughts while I was transitioning out of the military, right? And I'm like, the burpees are a really good way to get me to like feel that shit again. How about I give that feeling to society, right? So what we did is we ran an event. We called it the Chalk Over Burpees event. And the sole purpose was to simply fundraise a little money so we could buy some cold weather gear and help people out like Aaron who are sleeping on the streets in the middle of winter here in Kansas City. We did that, had a great turnout. A year later, 2018, I was approached by a gentleman in a wheelchair. He wanted to do adaptive CrossFit. And I was like, I don't know how to train anybody in a wheelchair. I can do able-bodied all day long. I have no idea what to do with a person in a wheelchair. Immediately, my brain was like, that's wrong of you, right? Like, I should be able to creatively look at somebody in a chair who gets around in our world by just ambulating themselves in a wheelchair and say, I can train you. You can push and pull and rotate. You can get your heart rate up. I can train. That's enough. So what I did is I went and got certified, specialty certification through the Adaptive and Inclusive Training certification through the Adaptive Training Academy, was able to then train adaptive athletes. But my barrier was always finance. We always ran into a financial barrier. Can't afford $150 a month. That's what my gym membership is, right? We're not a Prairie Life Fitness. We're not a Genesis Health Club, right? This is real coaching. This is real fitness. This isn't something you're going to forget about your payment with. But I can't afford that right off the bat, right? Especially people with disabilities having a tougher time, lower socioeconomic status, kind of a limited ceiling on their income, right? That's a big chunk of change for them. So we got together with a couple individuals and we're like, we should probably think about this nonprofit idea, right? And a gentleman approached us with a check. And he's like, hey, I just need the ability to write this off against my taxes. And I'm like, how do we do that? Talked to a couple people. It's like, nonprofits are the way to go. So what we figured out is like, okay, if we go this nonprofit route, we can really start taking this thing seriously. We can start fundraising to put these individuals, veterans, first responders, person with disabilities, inside of supportive fitness-based communities. With my veterans and my first responders, we're going to teach you some stuff. With my adaptive athletes, I'm just creating access. So it came from a place of like, I see people show up for themselves. Can we get them to show up for other people, right? And then a individual who has no access to physical fitness, right? No access point to like a ability to be coached, taught, and developed to be a better athlete in a wheelchair. And I was like, these two things have the same problem. It's access and it's finance. The nonprofit solved that route, right? So we founded in 2018, and to date we've done over 100 veterans and first responders, and this year we'll cap with 200 disabled individuals that we've worked with in the last about 6 years.
Dang.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, I feel like a big old piece of shit over here, so I'm just...
I'll second that motion for you.
I told you, I don't get bored very often. I get an idea in my brain, and then it's like, all right, let's run this through and see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Just a turd sitting over here.
Everybody's got their own specialty. Mine just happens to be multifaceted.
I like taking naps.
It's a superpower. That's still a superpower.
What have you... So, let's start, especially with like the adaptive athletes that you've been training. obviously we would probably see the physiological changes. What have you seen mentally in them? How has that improved over the time they've been working with you?
Oh, brother, it is. So our adaptive program primarily focuses on developing I can attitudes, right? Kind of like a self-determination idea, right? And what we see, and one of the coolest things, like the pinnacle story that I always go back to, and like, what do you guys do with adaptive athletes, right? Because we do research, we partner with KU and KU Medical Center to do research about 2 years ago, and we've done 2 studies to this point, and we'll continue to do studies with them. But it is a 72-year-old individual who had a stroke. She had, she was has ataxia. The inability to carry her sewing machine upstairs. She wanted to be able to carry a sewing machine upstairs again. She's 72 years old. She lost the ability to do it somewhere along the line, right? So she joined an adaptive program, do CrossFit, which is functional fitness, to be able to carry her sewing machine up her stairs, right? The confidence that that lady now has at 70, she's been with us for over 2 years, so she's 74, 75 now, right? To grab her sewing machine, walk up her stairs, sit at her kitchen table. She's lost 2 husbands. 2 husbands have passed. She's still here, right? And be able to just sew and just do the thing that she's enjoying, right? Like, there is no greater gift in the physical fitness world than just to allow somebody to live a life unadulterated, unhinged, right? You do whatever the fuck you want to do. My job is not to tell you what your abilities are, your capabilities are, what your ceiling is for your life. My job is to say, that's going to take physicalness, and I'm here to help you maintain your physical readiness, right? And for her, it was, I need to be able to walk up a flight of stairs, I need to be able to carry something in front of me, and I need to be able to squat down and pick it up. Cool. I can do all those things with you, right? So the confidence that that lady now has, right? And I always say this in like, you should think that that world is your oyster, right? Like, we're all going to get older. Like, we're all going to get older. Right? We're all going to end up falling one day because of age, right? Like, we're in our 20s, 30s, 40s, and we're like, nah, ain't me. Bullshit. I work with all of them, and they all fall, right? And if you can't get off the floor because you've never gotten off the floor for 30 years, right? You're calling the fire department, and they're coming to get you off the floor, right? This lady can fall on the floor. It might take her 20 minutes to get off the floor, but she can do it herself. You know how much confidence that gives somebody who's in their 70s and 80s? Right? So like, their psychological ability to just take the world on at their age is the greatest thing. And the craziest thing is my able-bodied athletes, been doing this for 12 years, show up less, meaning times per week, than my disabled athletes. Able-bodied will average about 3.5 times per week, right? My adaptive athletes will show up 4 times to 5 times every single week because they know what it means when they lose their physical readiness, because they've experienced that already, right? Which is insanely powerful. You're like, oh shit, I'm 40. I'm 37 years old. What am I doing? I'm preparing today for what life is going to look like when I'm 85 years old, right? And they know that, which is the coolest part. They're like, yeah, I want to show up. I got to do this. I got to put the work in. And they never complain. You give them a burpee, they're like, all right, let's go. You give an able-bodied 27-year-old a burpee, they're like, oh my God, a burpee. And I'm like, you're going to be okay, dude. It's just a burpee.
Well, that goes back to they don't know what they don't know. So, because you got somebody who's older and who's been through it, they can look back and go, yeah, I wish I would have done this, or I'm glad I did this because it prepared me for that. And somebody who is younger, they don't have that type of foresight, or, you know, it's because everything's been easy for them up to that point.
Right. And like, the inability for us to think that long-term in the future, right? Like, it's just this like instant gratification world society that we live in, right? It's like, right now I want to see the result, right? Like, you know, physical fitness and finance, right? Like, they have very similar rules, right? Like, you don't invest in the stock market, pull it out tomorrow and be like, hey, look at my 10% return on this investment. It doesn't work that way. You got to wait 10 years to get that 10% return, right? That's how the stock market is. You don't get to do a set of curls, a set of push-ups, and a set of squats and like turn around and be like, oh my God, look how fit I am, right? It's like, yeah, I need that tomorrow, and then I need that for the next week, next month, next year. And probably in 3 years from now, you'll like pick your head up and be like, damn, I'm pretty fit, right? But there's no such thing as instant gratification, just like there's no such thing as instant returns on investment, right? We need the delayed return. You need to understand that what you're doing today is going to come back to you when you're 85 years old. The investment you made today in that stock market comes back in 10 years. And you've got to continue to show up and invest.
Well, that's the whole idea of paying your dues and trusting the process. And everything is a process. And it's no different with like mental health, for example. You know, you have to go and do the things today that are going to benefit you 5-10 years from now.
Right. That conversation, that confrontation, that weakness, that whatever is not your strongest point, right? Like you continuously just passively letting that thing happen, one day will be a very hard problem to deal with, as opposed to today making a hard choice and how easy those choices tend to get down the road, right? Hard choice today, easy choice tomorrow. Easy choice today, hard choice is going to show up. And are you going to be ready when it knocks on the door?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's the difference between discipline and motivation.
All right. Everybody's like, where's a cup of motivation today? And I'm like, it doesn't exist. And you're like, where do you get like the steady stream of discipline? It's called because you know what happens when you don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. If you don't put the work in now, you will not reap the rewards later on.
Right.
And I think anybody, if you played on a halfway decent high school sports team and had a decent coach,
Yep.
then you kind of get that.
Yep.
So, because I mean, whenever I was playing basketball in high school, we started in the summertime and it was every day, all the way up till season started.
Mm-hmm.
And we did all of those things, running in the Louisiana heat, like running suicides. Yeah. I mean, we were getting after it.
The amount of sweat that had to be coming from your body.
It was
oh
ridiculous.
my God.
But we were also a Class B school, and we played nothing but 2, 3, and 4A schools all during season until districts. So by the time we were playing Class B teams, we were kicking the crap out of them because we were used to playing way above competition. What in the world is that?
That's one of your dogs. They flush the toilet.
No.
Dogs run in the vacuum.
Yeah.
I just want to know how he trains the dog to
Hit
run
the pause
vacuum.
button.
What I was going to bring up, though, after you brought up your football that you claimed to be basketball analogy.
He said basketball.
We'll go.
Jeremy never played football. He doesn't know how.
Throw ball, catch ball, run ball?
Yeah.
No.
He didn't know what contact is.
Dribble ball, shoot ball.
Exactly.
And in basketball, if you touch somebody, foul.
Non-contact.
Foul.
Like he breathed on me, ref. He was more like LeBron James before LeBron James was LeBron James.
Talking about Tom Brady? Is that what we're talking about?
Hey, you got to earn that Tom Brady status.
Oh, white LeBron over here.
The best is whenever Patrick Mahomes wants it, and he's like, looks at the ref, and he's like, "Come on." And the ref's like, "Bro, you got to get around a little longer than that. Like, you ain't getting that call right now. Stop being a pussy."
2 Super Bowls isn't enough.
Right?
Whoa,
Come back
whoa.
when you got 6.
He's halfway there.
He's halfway there. Yeah. We hit number 3 this year.
I think we're hit 3 in a row.
Yeah. 3 in a row this year.
So he'll get his 4th.
It'll be beautiful.
I mean, why not?
Why not?
Better than the Packers.
The city loves
know
it.
that.
The Packers fucking dumpster fire. Don't even talk to me about the Packers.
He's a Packers fan.
Good. You can have the Packers. You can keep your SEC teams
Jordan
too.
Love, our savior.
Fuck you
Bears.
and
Jordan Love is our
Love.
savior. Isn't it Jordan Love the third?
It's fucking, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get, like, no, it'll be a tangent. What were you saying?
Kind of want to hear it. No, I was thinking though too, because even past that, like, and I'm sure, I know you understand this too, especially in the fitness world. But like even going to college, like there was that aspect of like, yes, we are in high school, we're on a successful team, we know what it takes. But that even almost kind of gave me falsehood going to college to play football because I was like, I was this shit in high school. I'm gonna just be the shit in college, and it starts over.
No, you ain't.
It's a whole new set of responsibilities and a whole new work ethic.
Right.
That starts over, and it's that was a reality check for me where I was like, oh, I'm not the best person here. I might actually be the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So the top, I think how it breaks down for whatever sport, probably the top 10% from high school make it to college, right? So that's the top 10% in the country.
Right.
The top 1% from college makes it to the pros. The top like 1/4% actually has more than like a 2-year career.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how good do you have to be?
So,
Yeah.
see, that's
And
the thing. It's not how good are you.
It's
how hard are you going to work.
How-
Yeah.
And that's
how
There
committed.
is a skill component to it. Don't get me wrong. You have to have skill,
Right.
but it's not skill alone, and it's not work ethic alone. It's a combination. But if you don't have that work ethic at all, with all the skill you have in the world,
Yeah.
without a work ethic, you're fucked.
You're done.
you won't even get out of high. You won't even be a starter on your high school team.
Right. Right. And that, I mean, isn't that the Kobe Bryant, kind of mantra?
Yeah.
It's like, every AAU team is going to go play 3 hours on the weekend. It's the kid who goes spends another hour and a half in the gym shooting free throws.
It's like
Yeah.
Michael
Right, it's
Jordan. How many game winners did he hit?
Not all of them.
No, but how many? But he hit a lot, right?
Hit a lot.
How many did he miss? How many did he miss in the gym by himself, alone?
There you go.
Working on it
There you go.
at home in the street or in his high school gym,
Right.
in college. I know Jeremy hates North Carolina, but damn Dukies.
You guys don't own them yet in the SEC? They haven't converted yet?
No, they haven't.
The SEC is still sticking around?
Yeah. Well, the SEC basketball is let's just say
Garbage.
subpar.
That's like Big 12 basketball.
Big 12
like,
basketball.
Yeah, you're like, good job, Iowa State. You keep,
Yeah.
running
I'll tell you
Kansas
what,
City.
Iowa State came out of nowhere last year.
They're good.
I did not expect that. I was like, who?
They're good. I live in a house divided. My wife was always a Cyclone fan. Her dad went to Iowa State. But when
Oh,
you ask
man,
her, like, hey, who's the
I feel
head-
sorry for you, man. I'll give you a hug later. You need one.
It's one of those, like, who's the starting quarterback? Who's the head coach? And she's like, I don't care. I'm just cheering for the team. And I'm like, I know everybody's stat line. I know the coaches, where they came
You're
from,
not a
their
real fan.
background. And I'm like, come on. And she's like, it doesn't matter. She's one of those also, like, both teams should kind of win kind of people. And I'm like, I love you, sweetheart. I love you.
No.
But
Iowa
I just
State
wanna
should
have
never
fun.
win anything.
I agree.
My
Especially in
cousin's an
house.
Iowa State fan. So, like, when KU and Iowa State are playing, he'll start texting when Iowa State's winning and all that.
Yeah.
And we don't say anything. I'm like, I've never once talked shit to you during sports. Never once.
Don't make me start now.
But best believe when we fucking win, you're about to hear it now.
I'm
with
gonna
all
hear
this shit talk.
Oh, I got 23 years of pent up losing in Nebraska football. When we have a winning season again, it'll be like winning the national championship.
That's an if.
Hey, Matt Rule's second year is always a better year.
Hey,
I've also said that about the last 5 head coaches. So
Don't
How
worry,
many
though.
clears
You
we
can-
been through?
Hey, you know what? You can still sell that place out for a volleyball game. Don't stress.
Hey, you damn right. Them ladies can bring it.
I'll tell you, I mean, KU football's been shit for how many years? Since Mangino left?
Right.
He got fired in 09
10.
or 10.
Big man genie.
Yeah. And they've been shit since, and all of a sudden we got old Lance.
Oh, dude.
Made a bowl game.
Made a bowl
this
game.
year we're making a playoff.
We
Right?
made back-to-back bowl games, but
Back to back bowl
Yeah,
games.
back-to-back bowl games. Won the last one.
And a renovation of a stadium.
And they were pouring money into that program.
God
now.
save the king.
God
Lance
save. Well,
Leipold.
I mean, let's be honest. That stadium looked like a prison stadium.
It felt like one when you walked in.
Yeah. Like if you've watched the movie The Longest Yard, you're like, oh my God, KU.
Yeah,
KU.
that's exactly what it felt like.
You're like, wow.
But then you walk across the way and you go and walk in Allen Fieldhouse and it's like the
Dude.
pearly gates open up.
Dude.
That's
probably-
the mecca of basketball right there.
Right?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Oh, buddy, don't
Cam-
get your ass kicked
Cam-
on camera. 'Cause
Cam-
we're fighting for it.
Cameron Indoor Stadium. That is the.
Oh, woo, all
that's the-
9,000 seats. Yankee
Yeah.
yank. I've seen high school gyms better.
Hey, bro.
Hey, the doctrine of basketball is hanging in that
right.
in that room.
Yeah.
Right?
It's got its
So-
own little building now that the Boost paid for, and
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. I can't. I mean, I'm so bad at basketball that you know how when you're like your parents are your coach growing up, right? And you're like you're supposed to play because your parents are the coach.
Even your dad was like,
still- you
sit
still-
your ass down.
You
Yeah,
still
my
sat-
dad's like
you're at the end, right?
My
There's the
dad's
water
like,
cooler.
There's the bench, and there's 3 seats on the end of the bench. You and your 2 buddies who can't play get to go sit down.
You're lucky I even let you on the team.
Son,
Dad.
I've got an important job for you. It's called Towel Boy.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, Dad, can I play? No. Can
Hey,
I play with the 7th graders? Yes. Oh yeah.
We're only up 50. No, you can't play.
The best was the end of my 8th grade. The end of 8th grade year. My dad looks down at the bench and goes, "Who hasn't scored yet this year?" His son was the only one who raised his hand, and I'm like, "I don't think this is supposed to be right, Dad." Yeah, I always had to go home with my coach. My coach was always sleeping with my mom. You know, just to kind of.
And you still got no PT, man.
I still got no PT, but in baseball, I never missed the starting lineup. So left or right, forwards or backwards, I never missed the starting lineup in baseball.
My
Basketball,
My
just
dad
wasn't
was
getting
always
my
my
game.
baseball coach. Man, he was a dick to me.
My dad likes to teach life lessons through baseball, and at that time, I was not ready to learn life lessons.
Yeah, I got
So
the
it was
best.
a little hard.
I got the best life lesson playing baseball. He was rotating people around, just doing infield. I was over here running my mouth. I hear smack, heads up. I turn, with a line drive, right in the eye.
Please put your head up. You finally listened.
I never left the ball after that ever.
Lesson learned, right?
And then I got moved to catcher, and nothing really ever got by me either.
There you go.
Because
I
I was
wonder
on the ball.
why. Yeah, that's why nothing got by you.
There's also a backstop back there that helps
Yeah,
out.
that helps.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
also
when
just-
you're as wide as the
yeah,
backstop to
thank
begin
you.
with.
There we go.
Yeah, I wasn't big back then.
Hey, it's just taking up square footage is all.
That's right.
Right? The bigger the backstop,
It's not
the
my
better the
fault I
pitch.
could get in the catcher position and Moran couldn't even get to the outfield.
We played growing up, we played small town. I'm from a town of 400 people, right? Super small farming community. And we played community ball. We kicked everybody's asses in community ball. There's like 13 of us boys that grew up together, right? In my small hometown, like 13 boys. It's like Sandlot every summer of my life. We played baseball until the lights came on. And then we went to the pool and chased the girls, and then we went back and played baseball. And every one of us played baseball all the way through 8th grade year. 8th grade year, we got to go to state. And our biggest hang-up was we got 4th in state. There was only 4 teams in state that year, but we got 4th in state. So whenever somebody's like, what's the pinnacle of your baseball career? I'm like, we got state. Wait, place 4th. How many teams were there? 4.
More
That's
than 2.
that's not important.
It's not important. You're asking questions you're not qualified to ask.
Yeah.
Josh, I'm curious with count in like what I was talking about, like with my college experience, when you get these, probably even your adaptive athletes, like how do you so 2 questions here. How do you keep the adaptive athletes motivated? Because obviously when you live in a state of despair for so long, it would probably be easy to go back into that.
Yes.
But even for like your able-bodied athletes, like when you get to that plateau, like when you get what your first goal was, like, oh, I see the changes, I hit a mark, or I see the 6-pack or whatever it may be, how do you motivate to that next step? Because obviously, like, we're not done there.
Right.
Like you can stop there, but by the time you're 85, you'll be back to as if you did nothing. How do you take the next step in both of those cases?
Yeah, solid questions. And we encourage long-term views of fitness, right? So like at the end of the day, what I will talk with every one of my athletes thoroughly about is like, why do you do this? Meaning like, why do you go to the gym, right? Why do you do a squat? Why do you do a push-up? Why do you move a barbell? Why do you ride a bike? Like, why do you do what you're doing when you go to the gym, right? And the majority of the time, it's not about like to lose 10 pounds, to add 100 pounds to my bench press, to do like things that you would think like, oh, I'm going to the gym to do things in the gym. Right? It's like the mom that's like, I want to be able to play with grandkids when I have grandkids. Right? It's the disabled athlete that's like, hey, I want to get back into playing wheelchair tennis again. Right? Like there's these big like life macro goals. So that way when we hit that first milestone, so to speak, right? Great, but that's just part of the journey, right? And I'm not a great fan of like goals. Like I think goals are great, but goals are very short term, right? Meaning like when you lose 10 pounds, what about the 11th pound? You didn't want to lose that one, right? Or when you put 20 pounds on your bench press, you don't want to put 25 pounds on your bench press? Like what's this arbitrary number that you're chasing for really no reason, right? It just makes us feel good. We can make a social media post about it. We can tell our friends all about it, right? But at the end of the day, like the athletes that I interact with, my disabled athletes, veterans, first responders, really regardless, it's like, what are you doing with your fitness? What are you doing with your health, right? And most of them have these big, hairy, audacious things they want to do. I want to live the highest quality of life possible, right? And I would like to do that when I'm 90. That's a fucking big, hairy, audacious goal. And how do you do that? Well, okay, you learn how to do a push-up, right? Because when you fall down on the floor, you got to be able to get off the floor. Push-up is the first part, right? Got to be able to toilet yourself, right? That means you got to do a squat. Preferably do like a 16-inch box, right? So we take this micro goal that is very short term, right? You could do that in 3 weeks, 3 months, right? And we turn that into, that's just part of the process, right? And making sure that we understand the entire time we're having conversations about what happens next, right? And that's kind of how we use our ability to take like this short-term micro goal and look at it in the grand scheme of things, right? I want you to keep kicking this and keep doing this because at the end of the day, and my athletes are very well aware of this, is like if you don't use it, you lose it, right? Our bodies are so efficient that like if you don't use a muscle, it will literally after 2 weeks start to catabolize the muscle. Your body will just be like, that muscle takes too many calories to maintain. You're not using that muscle anymore. I'm going to start eating that muscle for energy, right? Well, if your body's going to do that, right, after 2 weeks, what happens after 2 years or 20 fucking years of taking time off from the gym, right? So, like, you don't get downtime from physical activity because your body's going to be like, if you're not using it, I'm taking it back away from you, right? So again, we kind of tie everything back to that big, long-term, hairy, audacious goal of like, what are you doing for fitness? And then how do we kind of keep you on track with that as we go?
Just like any other skill, it's about currency. You know, if you're not doing jiu-jitsu every day, then you're going to lose those skills. If you're not playing basketball, you're going to forget how to dribble correctly, you know.
Right? Shooting, driving, right? Fixing cars, like it's all repetition, right? And I think people misunderstand, especially in the fitness realm, like what it means to like long-term adhere to a physical standard, right? Just an exercise, whatever that means. Go to the gym, do whatever you want. I don't care, right? But everybody starts with like this goal, right? I want to lose weight. I want to gain muscle. I want to look better. I want to, it's bikini season, whatever. I don't care. But at the end of the day, the only thing that gets you to look better in the bikini is that you showed back up, right? The only thing that gets you better at like shooting is like to show back up to the range, right? Enjoyment has to be part of the conversation, right? If you're not enjoying it, if this is a grind, oh, I got to go to the gym again. I got to grind. You're not doing that forever because you're a fucking grown up and you can choose to not drive to the gym today. You can just drive home, right? So if there's no enjoyment to it, you're going to stop doing this thing eventually. And if you stop doing it, your body's going to be like, hey, you stop doing this. I'm taking all that shit away you just earned, right? And like trying to get them to comprehend so early on in their journey, like, guys, this has to be fun. Like, and I mean that from like, yeah, we're going to work hard. Yeah, we're going to sweat. Yeah, there are going to be uncomfortable periods. Like, yes, there's going to be hard conversations. So I'm going to hold you accountable for some shit, right? But at the end of the day, like, you have to smile when you're in my gym. You have to laugh. You have to high five. You have to support each other, right? And if you do those things and that elicits the feeling of like, I'd like to go back to that environment again, I'm going to get you whatever the hell you want, right? Because we're not going to do easy things ever in my gym. But if you enjoy doing those things, okay, over time, we're going to march you to the I can do 10 push-ups in a row. We're going to march you to the I can shoot better, whatever it might be, right? So enjoyment has to be part of the conversation very early on if we're ever going to see the results from what we're working hard for.
So how did you get hooked up with the Battle Within?
Yeah. So the Battle Within, Justin approached me 2019 probably in a kind of like a, we kind of started the conversation with like a understanding that the Revenant journey at the Battle Within is kind of like a flywheel, right? And like they're like the kind of the center of our flywheel, right? We like to think of like the Battle Within's cohort that they go through for that week as like a general studies degree, right? Where like you're going to just get a lot of great information. You're going to have opportunities to like experience some of this information, right? Do some hand one-on-one kind of stuff. But there was really no opportunity to like carry it on after, the week, right? And what we started to think of was the next 90, right? Well, what does the next 90 days look like post that week at the Battle Within? And the Chocolate for Burpees program was developed at that time for a 90-day program. I had specifically built the Chocolate for Burpees program to focus on structure, support, and accountability. And I do that in a monthly basis. So those three pillars of our program, we have a 1-month focus on each one of those. And it fit beautifully into what Justin was trying to figure out is like, how do we take the skills we're teaching them, right? And then let them interact with them while they're at home, right? And that's where the connection with the Battle Within came. And now, last year is when I started to do this kind of on a recurring basis. Now I go out there. I was out there yesterday. And giving conversations about fitness and nutrition on just like a very basic elementary status, right? Like, hey, here's, what we should be thinking about from like macronutrients. Here's what we should be thinking about from like how many minutes we need to move in a week, right? Like this very basic overview of health and exercise. And then, hey, also, if this is something that you would like to pursue further, right, instead of getting a general studies degree, let's go get a master's degree in this shit, right? Hey, here's my program. Here's the availability of my program, and I can take you with this program wherever you live, right? So that relationship with the Battle Within has grown over the last about 5-6 years and really has been a really big pinnacle relationship for us because it gives us the ability to take the great work that they do out there for the week and then build off of it. But also they have a support network, which is really cool as well.
Yeah. James.
I wish I think, at least, Jeremy, I know you.
Do you really?
No, not really.
Sometimes.
Have been in the I guess what we would call pretty intense psychotherapy setting.
Mm-hmm.
We've both done inpatient stays. We've both done IOPs. And one thing that I thought that was interesting is they brush it. It's a sentence. It's, you may hear it twice the entire time you're there, but especially coming from somebody like of a pretty high physical fitness background, especially in high school and college, even though it doesn't look like it now, they don't really talk about the, I think, importance of physical fitness in the mental health journey. Not only for the hormones that your body releases during the workout, but like you talked about earlier, Josh, like the confidence it builds back up in a time when it is so low.
Right.
And what I love, especially when you talk about your relationship with the battle within, is like good. Like, let's put those back together.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. And too, like, it needs to, it may not be a part of, but it does need to be a part of every first responder's life, physical fitness, because that's part of our job.
Yep.
So there's no reason that the two can't accompany with each other within the first responder realm and mental health.
Right. And the where the cortisol levels that we experience, I started therapy in 2020 through the VA, and then just, I needed somebody to tell me that the thoughts in my head weren't crazy, right? I just need someone to just legitimately like, hey, dude, you're good, right? Like, maybe the world you're living in right now doesn't agree with you. You do understand you're a very small percentage of this world with your background and dedications and things like this. Like, you're not going to fit in this mold of this world you're trying to figure out, right? And she was fantastic at like just getting me to like just center myself all over again. But what I realized during that was I had at that time taken a lot of time off of just like exercising regularly, right? It wasn't like a structured, like I'm going to do this at 7:15 every fucking morning, 5 days a week, right? It was more like I'm going to get this done when it can get done because I have other things, other jobs that need to get done, right? Kind of what everybody does is they're like, yeah, I'll work out when I have time. Right. And then I'm like, how's that worked for you? And everybody's like, not very well. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. So the world doesn't fucking care about you. Right. Like, you have to care about you more than the world cares about you. Right. And that brought me back to what the Battle Within talks about, but with the program that I developed was like, this has to be something that's an immovable meeting. Like, you do not move that meeting off your schedule, because at the end of the day, what that does for you from a mental health standpoint, fuck the physical, right? From a mental health standpoint, you are a charged battery, and that charged battery can now go charge other batteries. But being a dead battery, and to me, not exercising, I'm a dead fucking battery, right? Like, yeah, I can do things, but I'm not going to do them well, and I'm sure as shit not going to do them passionately, right? I have to go get that shit out, right? So one thing that I love, and one day I'm going to take up a mixed martial arts practice again, but the one thing I loved about mixed martial arts before the Marine Corps is like, it's an instant right now, there's a problem and you need to solve it, and you can't think about the problem tomorrow right now because somebody's about to punch you in the face, right? And I was like, that's good, because in my workouts, like, that thruster that yesterday was 115 pounds for me, which is 40 pounds under my body weight, right? That's fucking hard. And I don't need to think about what's on tomorrow's agenda, right? Or like what my kids are going to eat for supper tonight, right? It's like, I have a thruster right now, and that has to include a lot of balance, a lot of power, a lot of speed, right? And I got to complete this thing well. That takes instant focus. I no longer focus on that like long-term problem. My cortisol levels can't skyrocket because I'm not thinking about a problem. I'm thinking about right now, right? And that for me, and I know a lot for my veterans and first responders, is like, oh, fuck, that's nice. Right? Because I'm not thinking about the future all the time and all the problems that my future self is going to have. I'm focused on what's happening right now. And oddly enough, after an hour of getting your ass kicked in a gym, right, jiu-jitsu mat, whatever, right, like, you get done and you're like, oh, maybe that wasn't a problem. Maybe those problems aren't problems. Like, maybe that was a problem that my brain created because my brain needed to be occupied with something. Yeah. Well, let's occupy your brain with like some physical shit. And then all of a sudden everything gets a lot more quiet, right? I always refer to it as like, it's a volume button. Like, physical fitness is a volume button, and you get to turn the world down as you exercise, right? And everything that happens after that, cortisol drops, dopamine increases, right? We all feel better. Like, my buddy who was just in the gym this morning, served in Afghanistan with him, grew up with a kid. All of my bad stories are with this kid, right? We get in my Jeep, we're going to drive around after we get done working out. He looked at me, he's like, damn, I feel good. And I'm like, welcome to the dope rush, right? Like, that's literally your brain being like, you should do that shit regularly.
Yeah.
There's also a thing after we get done eating like the pint of ice cream where your body's like, fuck. And it's like, that body's also telling you something, right? Like, you should probably eat a little bit less of that every once in a while, right? So it's confidence, it's dopamine, it's the feel-good chemicals. But at the end of the day, your physical readiness, your ability to just do hard things physically with your body builds so much mental confidence of what the world will throw at you that you can handle all of it.
Well, and there's something about, I kind of want to tag onto that a little bit, about being present in the moment and focused on what is happening right now instead of thinking about the past or the future. Because I think we do that way too much just in society in general. We're always thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow, the next day, the day after, or shit, I fucked up on that call, or we should have done this, or we should have done that, or this or that or the other thing. No, focus on right now and be present in the moment. And you carry that on from the gym into your personal life of being present with your spouse, being present with your kids. It's just paying dividends all the way down the line.
And something I like that it's easy to, like, when you hear, I guess, for lack of better terms, like the gym rats come on, right? And you're like, there's another person with an addiction that doesn't realize it. No different than alcohol, no different than sex, no different than anything else. But and Josh, as you talk, you have already shown exactly what Jeremy just talked about. It's your importance is not to show up and do the workout and run through the motions. You literally said, I want you to smile while you're there, to be present in the workout and enjoy it for what it is. It's not a checkbox. It's not a, God, I got to go to fucking do this workout again. I just did it yesterday. It's not the addiction. Like, I have to do this because it's part of my routine. Be present. Enjoy it.
Yes.
Love it while you're there. And that's what you've emphasized, I think, since this podcast started already, is that's your goal for the people you train and that you show yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, leadership is simply like doing the thing that's not very sexy, that's not going to be 1 million likes on Instagram. You're not going to get a fucking blue check mark behind any of it, right? But it's doing those things that you want somebody to look up to and say, that's possible, right? Like, somebody explained it to me one day of like, I don't want my children to ever look at anybody else and be like, oh, that's what fitness is. They're looking at somebody else to look at and be like, oh, that man over there is fit. I want my little girls to look at me and be like, my dad, like, that's my dad. And my dad is fit, right? My dad can take care of us. My dad can do all these things. Like, I'm setting the example for my little girls to look at one day and be like, oh, mom and dad are the ones that I look up to. I don't have role models outside of my mom and dad right now, right? And at the end of the day, if we're able to continuously set the example that society can interact with, right? Like, I love all of the shredded bodybuilders on the planet who are like, here's the most approachable way for you to build your deltoids. And they're on TRT. And you're like, appreciate it. But like the mom with 3 kids, right, that has to then have a full-time job, cook, do groceries and all that shit, like, she ain't got time for that. What does she have time for? 1 hour to have fun and enjoy it so she can come back tomorrow and do it all over again, right? She doesn't have time for all this other shit. Also, she knows when she sees bullshit, right? Because she knows that her life is about picking up kids and carrying a household along and supporting her husband or whatever it might be, right? And we can flip the script and do the same thing as men support their wives, right? At the end of the day, it's about the support of each other and that common long-term view of fitness. And what are we doing it for, right? The more you enjoy it, the more you come back to it. The more you come back to it, the results are all coming your way.
Yep.
Second that.
Agreed.
Right?
Well, yeah, definitely not wrong on that.
I do notice. I have noticed that I find it easier to, when I was working out, to do it with, like when you and I were on the same shift, in the same station, to go to the gym. Right, we left the station, went to the gym,
right,
and then working out together, because now you got someone who's gonna call you out when you're being lazy,
right?
Than I do when I'm in my basement and I'm like,
I can dope on my phone. I can take 20 minutes, right?
But at least I have my music on my TV,
right? And it's what and we do Sebastian Junger's Tribe. Anybody read it? Sebastian Junger's book Tribe. Fan fucking tastic. Great book, and he talks about when the colonizing of America, there was individuals who would leave like colonial life, right, like the good life, right, and they would join the native world, right. And when the natives or the colonials would interact, the colonials would try to go like get their people back, right? And these people would come, but then like sneak off in the middle of the night and go back to their native people, right? To be part of that tribe, right? And what they understood was like having things is not living, right? Having connection is living, right? These people who have nothing, who live in dirt, who live in mud houses, who fish with spears, right? They have the thing that I've been looking for. But I've been looking through it with like, how nice is my horse and house and like what's my sterling silverware all look like and all that shit, right? And when you like span that out across, it's 2024 now, and we live in this like, I can do everything on my phone. I don't need anybody. I can work from home. I can be alone. It's like, I don't know, did anybody thrive during the fucking pandemic when we were like, hey, don't ever hang out with another person. Don't breathe on them within 6 feet, right? Right?
He might have.
Maybe. But it's like you look back at like how we were evolutionary wise, right? Developed as human beings, as the human species. And we're meant to be in tribes for the specific purpose of survival, right? But that tribe supports and does so many other things that you just can't put the finger on. Well, why do you work harder when somebody's next to you? Well, why do two racehorses run faster if they're on the track together? Right? One racehorse is fast, but two of them together are faster, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we see that shared bond. It's that shared little thing and amongst each other. Like, all right, I see you. I'll work hard too, right? And we experience that all the time in the Marine Corps. You'd figure out so-and-so is going to do some hard shit. Oddly enough, their boy right next to him. We're going to go PM 36 trucks today. How many are there? There's fucking 2 of us. All right, we're going to be here till probably 2000 tonight. You good? We're good. Let's go, right? And it's like, yeah, like I'll do the hardest shit on the planet with anybody with me. Me, myself, and I, there's going to be a lot of excuses that come into my head. And guess what? Ain't nobody got to know if I say no to myself, right? Tribes are where it's at, right? And that's why the community vibe and why we're so focused with Bloc Life, that community-based fitness is a huge part of us. It's because the community pulls you in the door on the hard day, right? On the day where you're like, I don't want to. You're like, all right, fuck, Chris will be there, though. Chris is kind of funny. Chris is a good time. All right, I'll go hang out with Chris, right? We might do a workout, but it's like, I'm just going there to hang out with Chris. Well, oddly enough, you did a workout. You done your fucking job.
To me, it's kind of like tricking my brain.
Exactly.
Because I'll notice like I'll be getting lazy and so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna read this little article real quick about making sure my rep is right, and then of course it goes to Facebook or TikTok, and then all of a sudden I'm like, and then I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I still got 3 more exercises and 4 more reps of this. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Been here for 45 minutes already. Barely broke a sweat.
Or I conveniently, I got to poop.
Yeah. The class environment, that's the best. I'm always, okay, you got 2 minutes to go to the bathroom or get a drink of water, and everybody scurries. It's like the fucking rats. You're like, everybody's gone, and you're like, I get you. I get the nervous piece still. I'm like, work is going to start. I got to go pee real quick. And it's like, you're good, Holmes.
Did you guys see that article or see the story about the, I'm pretty sure it was in Africa, that like the tribe in Africa that got the internet from.
Yeah, Neuralink.
Yeah. They're the, whatever the shit is that goes.
Starlink, there you go.
Did you guys see about that?
Yeah. Now they're all addicted to social media.
So they
fucking serious.
No, so they did. Like they introduced.
Is this one of those tribes that has never really had contact with the outside world?
No, not like contact. They just have like more like a Mennonite or an Amish style.
Okay, I got you. I'm on board.
But they brought on Starlink and gave them internet access and all that stuff, which is great in theory.
Yeah.
But now, like, the elders of this village are basically saying, like, they're having a cultural collapse. The men have become very, like, sexually aggressive towards the females because they've discovered internet porn. They've disconnected with each other because they've got social media. Like, it's literally in 6 months destroyed an entire culture.
Oh, yeah. Social media was created by the devil.
And we've done it for...
I don't know if you know that or not.
It's interesting, though, because, like, look what it did to... what you would consider like probably an unbreakable tribal bond with accountability and culture deep in it, and they destroyed it in 6 months. And I've had a Facebook account since 2006.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like think about just how already disconnected we are. Like it's not the bolus push, but it's that slow drip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I had MySpace back in the day. I'm that old.
MSN Messenger.
Yeah, I had it.
I had that too. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, MSN
Yeah,
Messenger.
the chat rooms back.
Get,
Oh,
you
yeah.
get home and
Yeah.
start the dial up and log in. And
Dude,
Yeah.
You make a whole pizza before the internet was connected. You're like, Jesus, are we getting on there today or what?
You had to download your pictures and then put them on a 3.5-inch floppy.
Floppy disks.
Yeah.
Rotary
It's
phones
not a,
and
not a
floppy
joke,
disks.
man.
Dude. That's
Mom
the
and Dad
best.
yelling, "I gotta make a phone call."
You
That
give-
shit was legit.
You give a millennial a rotary phone, and you're like, make a phone call, and they're like,
Yeah.
no, but you
Does that
give
thing
us,
pump
but
gas?
you give us LimeWire and some blank CDs, and we'll
Dude,
fucking
we'll
create-
burn you the greatest
Oh,
track
yeah.
on the planet. All right, I still got that when I lost my license in high school. She's my wife now, but she was my girlfriend back in high school. I lost my license. She made me all of the like burnt CDs from LimeWire and all that.
I miss
Napster,
LimeWire.
all that shit. You're just like, man.
You get the one song
yeah.
that was like often they're like DJ so
Oh, yeah.
whoa, like right in the middle of the song.
Right?
You're like,
We
God
burnt
damn
that-
it.
Oh, we burnt the shit out of that DVD or that CD.
Man, because back then that's when Apple iTunes was fucking cool. When you pull it up and you could download your LimeWire right into it.
Mm-hmm.
I probably had 10 to 12,000 songs.
Really?
Because I would just leave it up, and everybody who came over, because it was on all day long. Like the second you got home, you hit play on shuffle, and you did whatever.
Dude, how gnarly was it to be able to go from like one song to like albums?
Oh yeah.
Right? Like you could get all of it.
And people would just come over and like, "Oh, I want to hear this." I'm like, "That's not in there. Go ahead." And that's how all. And then
Right?
Of
Eminem.
course, you got a virus because it's LimeWire.
Of course.
Here
That was
we are.
mom and dad's computer though.
No, this was mine. This was when I was on my
Was your
own.
own?
Yeah. And I lost all my music.
I'm not
That's not my music.
I'm not gonna cut to me right now, so the government does not see me actually verbally say this. But I will say, like,
It's a ghost.
yeah, I DJ like to this day still, and have over 20,000 songs in my computer, and probably half of them are still like the original
Hell yeah.
downloaded LimeWire ones that I've just transitioned from computer.
I like
to-
how
Let's go.
he thinks the government doesn't know what he's saying right now, and they're not recording it on.
Yeah, not recording it.
It's not my face.
There's
Yeah,
not a
it's
phone
my
in your
face.
pocket
Yeah.
that's recording it.
The NSA is going to be
And
at my house going, where does he live? Oh, no, wait. We already know, but
Give
you're
us the
coming with
fucking
us.
laptop right now.
Give us a laptop. We've been looking for that burnt CD for 20 years.
Where's the computer that has the Windows 97 on it? Give it here right now.
I think we should. I say this, we should be safe because of the statute of limitations, but
Statute of limitations.
but we see what's going on.
It was a gnarly world living in, like, progressing. So, graduating high school, 2005, right? You know, I'm 37 years old. 2005 was like, everybody's got a phone, so to speak, but it's like the little
Still a
camera.
flip phone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
flip phone.
flip phone, the Razor, right? All those things back in
Love
the day.
that phone.
Yeah. All right. My wife had the Razor. She was cool. But
missed
it
that
like
phone.
I
you
broke 'em
could
so fucking
do
easy,
all
though.
of it. Like
Yeah.
you could like there was no like I'm worried about getting canceled. Like somebody's gonna record me soon. You could just be a teenager
The only
with
thing,
a phone.
The only thing I worried about was if I accidentally logged onto the internet
Yes.
on it.
Had
Yeah.
the internet
Shit,
button
shit,
right
shit,
there.
shit,
Yeah.
shit. Like, go away, go away, go away.
You're hitting the hang up button. No.
Dude, and then like living through T9 when you had to text people.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Dude, I could be driving back then and not even look at my phone and
Right?
perfect text message.
That's an S. That's
Yeah.
a T.
Yep. 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 4.
Morse code for idiots.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Morse code for
Never
morons.
had a problem.
I know. Yeah, we live with the technological development of being able to go from that to like now it's like I always start my conversations out of the battle with it. I was like, if you guys want a master's degree education on nutrition and fitness, just pull your fucking phone out. Like it's got
That's all.
everything.
Yeah.
It's got more computers than the one that landed on the freaking moon. Right?
Have
Like
you seen
we're
the new
good.
Have you seen the new scale that's going wild on TikTok? So it's like you put in what you are like. You have chicken breast,
Yep.
and you throw it on the scale, and it tells you how many calories, how much protein, and all that in that chicken breast.
Hell yeah.
It's in like vegetables, whatever you want to put on there. It'll tell you. It'll break it down for you.
Perfect.
And I was like, I'm curious to see how it works. I don't know all the ins and outs of it.
Yeah.
But you see the video, and it's like, oh, that's fucking awesome.
Right.
But I think it's only like $20 or $25. Like,
Does it do it by like weight? Does it do it cooked or raw?
yeah, it'll do cooked or raw. However,
Well, okay.
so however you put it in, because I'm assuming you have to have an app on your phone.
Is it in the
Fill it
TikTok
out.
shop?
Yeah,
Oh God, I love the TikTok shop.
and
I can't let Japan in. I just can't. Or sorry, I can't let China in. Sorry, China.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Japan.
Come on. The CEO said he's not Chinese.
See, me and you are on the same page. These two morons.
You know what? Here's the thing.
I just can't do it.
Maybe,
Like I
Wait
can't
a minute,
get
what
sucked into
kind
more.
of phone do you have?
Apple phone.
Oh, yeah. And what kind of phone do you have? Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Got an Android.
yeah. Okay.
Because those are made here.
Ruin our fucking text
Then here's the
message
thing.
threads.
Maybe as I sit here in
Not
my
made here either.
maybe as I
Where's
sit
this
here
shirt
in my
made? Let's
fucking,
see. No, sorry, man. I didn't mean to call you out like
Kansas
that.
City. Scene merch is the shout out right there. Scene merch.
maybe I'm just fucking Chinese. As I sit here in my Reagan Bush shirt. I don't know because they got me. You know they know what I like.
You're in my
They like
Reagan Bush shirt.
They like my fucking
84.
TikTok and my iPhone. They got me figured. They got me dialed in.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see. I got the
That's true.
iPhone, the iWatch, the iPad, the iMac, and the iComputer.
Yeah, Steve Jobs.
He owns
really
me.
appreciates
He
you.
owns me.
Yeah, he really appreciates you.
That man is clapping in his grave.
Yeah.
He ain't rolling over for nothing. He's
And
like,
that's
America,
just what
I
I
got
have.
you by the balls.
My wife's got the iMac, the iPhone, the iWatch. My whole family has iPhones.
Well, if you're an Apple guy, you're an Apple guy. Like you just,
it all
the way-
syncs up.
Exactly.
It's like you hit the button and it's like, oh yeah, we have all your stuff for you.
yep.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
like,
I remember
man.
the days of my
It's easier.
of my fucking Dell computer with iTunes.
Oh.
How much of a pain in the ass
Yeah.
that was. Now I'm streamlined, baby.
Streamline.
Well,
well,
fucking
it was
streamlined.
CompQ.
ComQ. Jesus. When do you want your computer to start tomorrow? Actually, yeah.
That
we'll
computer
wait.
was never off.
Sorry,
And-
we can't play
and-
this video. You have to install the new version of Qt whatever to
Yeah.
fucking
Adobe Reader cannot open this right now. Please try again.
Oh, fucking Adobe Reader. I hate that thing. And then you had to buy your antivirus all the time.
All the
the old
time.
McAfee.
Yep.
Oh man.
Jeremy's like, "What's a computer?" Look
That's-
at him. He's so confused right now.
My uncle would.
We didn't
literally
have
come in town,
internet in Louisiana till 2021.
and I didn't even get it until 2023.
What's the internet?
He's over here with a hammer and a chisel and a big rock.
Hey, this will still be around in 100 years if you need it to be.
Hey, y'all know? Have you ever heard of this thing called T9? You can do it on your phone here. Yeah, Jeremy, 20 years ago.
Remember when the Matrix came out and we all wanted the phone? You push the button and it slid down.
Yep.
It's
Sidekick?
just in Jeremy's pocket right now.
He's got a bag phone in his
Yeah.
Jeep right now.
Oh, he does. He's still.
He's
You
got
know,
a-
he's
he's
not
got
even a
cigarette
backbone.
lighters.
He's still on CB.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm just getting fucking ready to say it. He's on.
Just tickling God's feet with those antennas.
Oh yeah.
What are you doing with that, Jeremy? Just tickling God's feet driving down the road.
Oh, fuck you guys.
Oh, I love this. Episode after fucking episode after fucking episode, you motherfuckers recorded me in, and I'm loving every fucking second of this.
I'm happy I can help.
Thank you so
Restore
much.
some balance to this world for you, James.
Oh. Fuck all y'all. I got a satellite communicator in my Jeep. I don't even have CB.
Yeah. Ask him about the satellite
GMRS.
communicator
Hey,
phone he's
actually,
got.
that
He can't
satellite
make phone calls.
No, but that
No.
motherfucker, I will tell you, that
Saved
saved my
his
life.
ass.
That saved my life. Beyond, I would still be in fucking Lake Tahoe, California by myself if it wasn't for that goddamn.
We were on the
satellite phone.
Rubicon Trail in
Took
September.
a wrong left turn, or did you?
I didn't.
No,
that was
he
right.
was
I
trying
didn't
to
take
go
any
straight.
turn. I couldn't take any fucking turn. That was the problem.
That Albuquerque term, man, it fucks everybody up.
Got to zig when you're supposed to zag.
So, you know, on the Jeep steering box, how you've got the output shaft that goes down to,
Yep.
you know, the drag
It's
link,
literally
right?
built
Right.
like fucking Gumby.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
You ever seen one of those just snap in half?
No.
We have.
Did you win anything?
I'll
when
show
that
you. I'll
happened?
show you pictures. I got a great fucking story.
I don't think I've seen pictures of that yet.
It's a that.
Yeah. So we were stuck.
So it was you could go straight.
No, I
No?
couldn't do anything. I had no steering
the,
control.
every time the Jeep moved, the tires just went
Oh, so you- oh.
fucking way. So we literally had to winch him while we had two guys on each tire pushing to keep him going the right direction. So we winched him a little bit, reposition, winch again, reposition, winch again to get him up. We made it, what
30?
150 yards from our campsite the night before?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, we were 20 minutes on the trail, and then it took us probably every bit of
It was a day.
3 hours. No, I'm thinking like 3 hours to move us
Yeah.
15 yards, 20 yards probably.
Yeah, it's probably about 30 yards, but yeah.
Holy shit.
Took us 3 hours to move it. Thankfully, nobody was behind us. But yeah, so we got it winched up into little pull-off / campsite, and we were there for the next day. I got my satellite communicator out, texted his ass, who got in touch with the Rubicon Trail Foundation, who then was able to get in touch with me directly and worked out. They were having another group come out like the next day.
Nice.
And they brought us a steering box.
Nice.
So we changed it right there on the trail.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go.
It was definitely a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire moment.
Yeah, that's like a
Phone and friends, man.
that's like a desert fix, man. You're just like, how many ratchet straps you got? How many chain binders you got? What do you got for duct tape? We're gonna figure this damn thing out.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we had a welder. We probably could have welded it if it hadn't snapped off as far back as it did. But it wouldn't have held up. There's no way it would
No,
have
I'll,
held.
I'll show it to you. Like you'll look at it and you'll be like, "What the fuck?" Which is literally exactly what. Because I was trying to basically I had my tires like up on an obstacle, and I was trying to go like up at an angle on the rock, like because my front tire hit it and I wanted to pop up on it. And so as I did it, it basically just shoved that tire into the rock harder. And when I wanted it to go up, it just went snap. And I just turned my wheel and it went, "Bleep." And I was like, "Oh fuck!" Which then I broke.
Power steering is
which then I
amazing.
broke my clock spring in that process too. Like I fucked it all up.
Yep.
Yeah, I was an auto tech before I was in the Marine Corps. That's my first degree was in auto technologies. I got, how was that, 2009? I graduated that one, 2008. And that's about the last, like 2010, 11. I'm like, I can work on anything up until that point. After that, fuck that. Too much technology. You need a fucking master's degree in science and engineering and all that shit to work on anything new these days. But I have an 11 Jeep. Same thing. It's, we deer hunt back in Iowa, and those are pretty fun going across a chiseled cornfield.
Yeah.
You're
No.
supposed to shoot the deer, not run it over.
No, we're just
You know
getting
that, right?
closer. I'm getting tactfully closer. In the
Get the
Marine,
machete out! Get the machete
in
out!
the Marine Corps, it's called close with and destroy the enemy. I was closing the with.
Yeah, pay no attention to that mounted bipod on the top of the Jeep.
No. Don't look at
It's
that.
not there, Mr. Game Warden.
I don't know where that's not mine.
That's not mine. I couldn't tell you.
never
How I
seen
got
that
up there. Those aren't my fingerprints.
Over here laying down suppressive fire on the deer.
Can you just get him to lay down a little bit? Sure can.
Cover and move. Cover,
Cover
and
and
move.
move. There we go. We know how this works.
Why are there 8,700 shell casings in my? I don't know shit about this.
I don't know anything about it, but I do like shooting.
I'm not a very good shot. I don't know.
I take
he's
up
up
the
there
air
going,
around it.
Yeah.
Right?
Accuracy by volume.
Accuracy.
Right.
There you go. Right?
Hey,
I like target-rich environments.
Kill's a kill, man. That's kind of where I'm at with it. If you get the deer, you get the deer.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care how many shots you took.
No, you just got to let the blood out of it. That's
right.
How you do it is up to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes Kentucky windage works.
Yeah.
Actually,
Well,
all the time it works.
It works every time. Yeah.
If you can kill it, debone it, and skin it all at the same time, why wouldn't
Yeah,
you do that?
It's just- you're just being effective.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen a good semi truck do all of those things in one fell swoop. You're like, wow, that is a clean deer you got laying on the side of the road there, sir. Your truck's a little fucked up too.
Shit.
Do you remember that show, Top Shot? Did you ever watch that? It was on the History Channel.
Very
My wife and I loved that show. We watched it all the time. I think it was the last one where they had the gunnery sergeant.
Yep.
And the guy's name, the one was Chris, I think.
Yep.
Then you had the Air Force sniper, which I didn't know the Air Force had snipers until that.
They do.
I was like, oh, okay. And they had the 1,000-yard shot. Mm-hmm. And so the Air Force guy goes first. One shot, stands up and walks away before he even hit the target. And he hit the target.
He's good.
The gunny got up there, and I think he took 5 shots. And he just and just kept moving in. The old Kentucky windage.
We're gonna walk that one in.
and he won the competition. 5 shots to 1, and he won the competition. I was like, that's definitely a Marine right there. It's like everything I've ever heard about the Corps. I was
Right
like,
there.
He's like, fuck it, pop, 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 pop. Got it.
I mean, they teach you pretty early on, never shoot a large caliber man with a small caliber bullet, and ammunition is cheap. So, we're going to use all of it. Or you can count it before you bring it back to the armory, and you're like, I ain't counting fucking 60,000 rounds. We'll just put it down range.
Yep. I counted 0.
0. Feel those ammo cans? Empty, baby.
They're a lot lighter to carry back, too. than
Yeah,
empty.
right? And ammo doesn't care when you bring back empty because you ain't got to count shit. You bring back anything with gunpowder in it, they got to count that.
This went sideways like really.
Did you see they're building a new range by us?
Yes.
I'm excited. I want to check it out.
I know.
So
I was like,
somebody
I'm going to go apply for a part-time job because I have my RSO.
Yeah?
So somebody
Oh, yeah.
was talking about that, and apparently it is going to be like a membership place,
That's okay.
and it's pretty expensive.
Is it?
From what they were telling me.
I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I know you don't care money bags, but Some of us do.
Yeah.
It's close to home. It's worth the membership. Because, I mean, think about any range that we want to go to. It's a 30, 45-minute drive.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yep.
So it depends. Now, if they have at least a 50-yard range, I'm good.
Yeah.
They won't. It's going to be
Not
indoor
indoors.
right there.
Yeah.
So for that, like you can go out to the one out
Parma
out
Woods.
east. Now there's the indoor one out east
Oh, yeah.
where you go. It's 50 yards.
Yep.
Yeah, I need.
Oh, that's right. We didn't. I didn't take you. I took my other buddy,
Yeah,
my real friend.
I want to be your friend.
You don't have any other friends. Don't fucking lie. Imaginary friends don't fucking count Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, they do.
Of course they do.
And Ryan will tell you that.
I brought 10 with me. You guys didn't see him walk in?
He's that. We've been friends since we were 23, and we'll talk every couple of years.
Yeah.
And we've always been friends.
We've always been friends. Yeah, I got that friend too.
He built his own AR. He's like, I need help sighting it in. I'm like, why? You can't do it. He built it.
Start shooting.
Well, let's go.
Pick your eyes up. You'll be all right. Walk it in.
And that's the first time I shot a 50 cal.
Dude, how
That was
liberating is a 50 cal?
It was awesome.
Like 50 cal on top of a truck. Like we had.
I know this was just a regular old Barrett.
Oh, Barrett 50.
You know,
Oh, we get to play with we played with the big ones.
I want to shoot the big one. I want to do that.
We had a Crow system. Crow system is essentially, goddamn, what's the movie? Law Abiding Citizen.
Yeah.
The cemetery scene, right? That's the Crow system, but we put them on top of our 7-ton trucks. So the operator was sitting inside the truck. Everything was joystick, right?
No, I don't want to do that.
The amount of shake that thing gives to a 7-ton vehicle, you're just like, whatever's on the opposite end of that fucking round ain't gonna be there no more. And in Afghanistan, everything's a mud hut. So it's gonna go through that, the next mud hut, and the 4 mud huts behind that one. And man, that first time letting those things go, you know, you're like, fucking America.
Just hit play on your burned CD, and it's old Jimmy getting after it.
Dude, man, like the bells were ringing, freedom was oh man, it was.
Here comes the eagle screeching over you.
Yep. Right. F-22 Raptor screaming on top of you. Let's go.
I'm an A10 guy.
Fuck yeah.
The sexiest sound on the planet.
Burp.
We had a drop in at the gym that I was running here in Kansas City. He was an A10 pilot for, you know, he might still be, or he's retired if he hasn't been. But just like his stories in Afghanistan about just, you know, because those are the ones, like that's the one, like you would, you know, the whop of a rotor blade or the screech of an A10. Like you ain't never seen Afghanistan be quiet like that. Like when they hear the whop of a rotor blade, they're like, fuck. And they go crawl back in their caves and you're like, yep, exactly. Because we in the air.
So where I grew up at in Louisiana, I grew up literally 200 yards from Peace and Ridge.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the A-10s, back whenever the Air Force Base was still open until Clinton and his genius closed it fucking down, that's where their bombing range was.
Really?
So they would fly right over my fucking house. Windows fucking shaking. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was awesome for a 10-year-old to go outside and go, that's fucking great. And then I watched Top Gun, and I was like, this is awesome. I want to do that. And then I was like, there's a lot of math involved, so I can't do that.
Remember, basketball. Dribble ball, shoot ball.
Yeah, exactly. Which is still a lot of math and geometry if you think about it.
Right, angles and shit.
Yeah, but I didn't put those two things together. Why would I? But yeah, no, I got introduced to the A-10 at a very young age.
Just sexy.
Awesome.
Yeah, like the thing that always, like we always kind of talk about, we talked about it before the podcast started, like, generationally, like there's always that next generation that's going to fuck it up for everybody else, right? And like, while that, is true on like a micro scale, like on a macro scale, like when I look at our fighting forces today, Marine Corps is the leanest fighting force we've ever been, right? When we were in Afghanistan, we were 220,000 strong, right? We did we were doing the workups at that time, so a lot of waivers were signed, and we're just doing our numbers, and now we're, about an 80,000 unit, right? 80,000 person unit, but like the retention of talent in the military now is so insanely impressive that they're keeping those smart individuals around to fight tomorrow's war. And they're smart enough to listen to them because they're the ones on the ground, which is a completely different conversation than we used to have. Back in the day, it was, well, this is the book's best practice. until we have an actual best practice, right? Well, now we have talent retention as our biggest focus, right? And even though we're lean, even though, there's not as many of us, right? At the end of the day, I believe we're more lethal than we are today than we ever have been in the past, right? And as we continue to kind of move in society's progressive direction, it's like we can easily point out like the that's the fuck up, right? That's the problem, right? But also, like when you see a disaster, like you look for the people doing the good shit, right? And like those people all exist yet, right? And it's, it behooves a lot of us in positions to like kind of support and encourage those individuals to do those small things, right? To encourage them when they don't want to be encouraged, right? To pull them along in that next kind of chapter in their life. Because at the end of the day, somebody dropped the ball for them, right? And we have a responsibility to pick that ball up for them, right? And help them out. So like, as, we fight the next war that we're going to fight, right? We've never been a warless country, right? We're always fighting somebody's fucking war. All right, cool, whatever. It is what it is, right? If it makes the country money, yeah, okay, right? But at the end of the day, it's about our country's ability to like continue to let us and believe in this idea of like, there's an American dream to be fucking had, right? And like, we are all living this American dream, right? Like, we get to wake up. Like, I've been to Afghanistan. I've been to that shit. They don't wake up and think like how hopeful tomorrow is, right? They wake up and they're like, I might not live through the day, right? I can plan tomorrow. I can plan next week. I get some shit might happen to me, but I have the ability to think long-term in this country. Most countries never have that, right? And we need to go back to this, like, what does the generation next in line look like? And what about the one after that, right? And what can we do today to support that generation? And as they develop physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever it might be, how do I tie myself to that? Right? And how do I become part of that? And one of the things that I love with our nonprofit and even in the for-profit gym is like the ability to just teach people adversity and hard shit is part of life. And I just do it by saying like, here's a workout. It's called a thruster and a burpee. Like, good luck. You're going to do great today. I believe in you. You're awesome. I love you. Let's go. Right? And then they experience that and they're like, I was successful doing that. And I'm like, yeah, you'll be successful again if you show back up again. Right? And this whole belief system is just based around, are you just, mean it in the nicest way, are you dumb enough to show back up? Right? Like, it's that simple. Like, you want to get ahead in our world, show back up. That's all you got to do. Because like we talked about work ethic, you got work ethic, you have everything to be successful because you're going to outlast everybody who gets to the first point where it's hard and they're going to fucking stop. Right? As opposed to somebody who's like, no, that hard thing is just a hard thing in the line of hard things in my life. And the only thing I'm preparing myself to do is die one day. And that's going to be the hardest thing ever. Right? For me, my family dying will be the hardest thing ever. So if I'm not preparing myself today for that instance, what am I actually doing? Right? And then you can enjoy life along the way too. Right? It doesn't have to always be doom and gloom. Right? So we think about it in a very basic sense. It's somebody who loves his country. I fucking love living in this country. I have a responsibility to set an example, to do the hard things, to do the small things. Right? But all of us collectively have an opportunity to bring the next generation up, and they don't have to be our kids. Right? It doesn't have to be my kids that I'm always paying attention to. Like in my neighborhood, during the pandemic was the first time I was like, oh, there's families with young kids in my neighborhood. And now those young kids are on bikes. And like they're riding around with like cards in their fins and making a bunch of noise and shooting off fucking bottle rockets and shit and like tagging up a piece of gym equipment. And I'm like, kids outside doing something, right? And one of them came to the park the other day when me and my little girls were there. And like, they were loud. They're kids, fucking 12, riding a bike with a water bottle stuck in the tire, making a bunch of noise, right? And like, the first thought was like, I don't see a single cell phone, right? I'm like, fuck yeah, right? I'm like, he's outside. He's being active. I'm like, now there may be somebody who comes around and says like, that kid's a problem, right? But what I'm seeing right now is that kid is no different than I was when I was growing up, doing the same shit. And that was 30 years ago that I was doing that shit, right? So like when we look at it, it's like there's a lot of fucking hope out there in this country. You just got to get away from the screens and find it. Because most of the time it's in your neighborhood, right? It's out your door. And you got to be the one who looks at it and is like, yeah, that might be a little loud. Yeah, that might be a little annoying. But that's the fucking American dream right there. Because I didn't see any kid in Afghanistan riding a bike trying to make a bunch of noise. I saw a bunch of kids in Afghanistan hating us as Americans, right? Watching their fucking 4-year-olds, right? Like an 8-year-old in charge of a 4-year-old. And it's an occupied country. And the parents are just off in the distance doing whatever they want to do. And I'm like, that's not us. This is what we do, right? And I think all of us have an opportunity to see that, realize what the possibility is for that little boy when he's 21 years old, right? And what can we do today, right? When that little boy drove past, like the best that I could, I was like, dude, awesome. Like I'm fucking stoked to see you on the playground, like just being a kid, right? Instead of being this, transparent thing that looks at a phone all day long.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to the whole social media conversation of
Fucking technology.
technology,
it's great, but it
and
sucks.
yeah.
Right.
Well, we've let it get hooks a little bit too far in.
Right. Right. And
And-
parents got to parent though, right?
Yeah.
Like parents, like I get it. Like everything's like, you gotta walk a line, right? And like my kids will know when it's time for me to be a dad, and my kids will also know when it's time for me to be their friend, right? But I am a dad first, right? So like, there's going to be a boundary, and they need to realize that first, right? But also at the end of the day, I'm not this dictator of a person, right? Like I understand like policies and rules like need variations with them, right? And it's there's nothing wrong with the benefits of social media, right? Like I run a nonprofit, and without social media, my nonprofit would not be able to make it to fucking San Jose, California. I'm not driving out there and talking about it, right? I just post it and somebody's like, hey, this is a program, it's available, what do you guys do? Right? And I'm like, well, here's what we do. And I was like, there's a lot of benefit to that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But also if you're somebody who is so enthralled with like what happens on that thing that you cannot go operate in society as a human being because what some phone and words may have told you, we've kind of moved in a direction that's not reality. Right?
Yeah.
That is just a fucking rectangle in your hand with words on it. And your boss needs you to be at work tomorrow at 8 a.m.
You ever seen the picture of people hanging off the cliff on the rock?
No.
Where it's like they crawl out and they're hanging on it, and it looks like it's...
yeah. It looks like it's like so far
Yeah.
over a city or something. It's actually like 5 feet above the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So I finally saw it the other day. Somebody said, hey, this is the actual rock. And you see people lining up to take their picture hanging off of it for inspiration. I'm like... And I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is a perfect representation of social media and essentially the lie that it is.
Right.
Like, have people made money on social media and gotten famous that way? Yeah, we've seen it.
Right.
That's rare. But this is the reality. Or you see these people in these majestic places and like, hey, this is social media. And then they show you the reality of it. And you're like, that's a shithole.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't poo in there.
Right.
That kind of stuff. And I was like, it's always there, but you got to get past the bullshit.
It's called a filter for a reason,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Well, it's like Josh was saying, it's a great tool when used correctly, but that's all it is a tool.
Right.
And unfortunately, in our society, it gets used incorrectly a lot of the time to the detriment of society as a whole.
Yep.
You have to wade through the bullshit to find the reality of it. But
Right.
you know what? It's that way in academia, too, in college. You got to wade through a lot of bullshit to find the useful information.
Right. Right. And like, unfortunately, young individuals don't have the ability to know how to filter that, right? It's all incoming to them, right? It's so overwhelming to them that it's all like it's like a human being is literally standing in front of you and doing that, right? And like, at the end of the day, there needs to be a grown up in that room that says like, sweetheart, like those are just words on a phone. And here's a crazy thought. You have a choice of how those words affect you.
Yep.
Right? Like there's this whole misunderstanding about like, why we react to things, right? And it's like there's a stimulus and there's a response, right? And there's a gigantic gap that nobody realizes in the middle, which is called a choice. So when I have a stimulus of like screeching tires, right? And then my response is like turn around abruptly, right? Well, the choice was made for me to turn around abruptly. And if I'm in America, screeching tires probably mean a car accident, right? But if I play screeching tires to a tribe in Africa who's never seen a car and they don't know what that sound means, they have no reaction to it. They don't know what that means, right? And at the end of the day, they will make a completely different choice because of their experience. So when we think about somebody offended me on Instagram, right? Or somebody yelled at me on Facebook or whatever, right? There's a fucking choice that you will either make or you will not make, and then you will have a response. And that response was, again, your choice. And that's where everybody misses this. It's like, well, I had to respond like that. I had to do that. I had to flip them off. They cut me off in traffic, right? And it's like, no, you didn't. You absolutely did not, right? Like if you talk to special forces guys, and most of them, will tell you, if you have an opportunity to egress out of a bad situation, you egress. You get the fuck out of it, right? If somebody's driving at you with a gun and you have the ability to get away from the situation, get away from the situation. Why escalate the damn thing, right? If you have to, solve the problem. But you have a choice to not actually elevate. You can de-escalate, move around and get a different objective, get a different observation point, and then act again differently. And I think most of us are this like, we have this like, well, I have to respond like this. Social media, I have to be angry. I have to feel like this. And it's like, no, you don't. You don't even have to read the comment. You could just post the picture and never read the comments, right? Post and ghost the fucking thing.
Read the comments is the best part.
Yeah,
What's that,
right? That's where the feelings come
Yeah,
from.
I'm like, ooh, they're mad. They're big mad. Next, oh, you're even madder. Wow, this is getting better.
What's that Sun Tzu said? Never let your enemy choose the battlefield.
There you go. Right? Right?
I mean, that kind of sounds like that.
Right? Like that, one of the lessons that we teach with the Chocolate for Burpees program is we talk a lot about, mindset awareness. Like one of the things in the middle of the program, we do a month of fitness understandings, and we kind of give you behind the scenes kind of peek of like what CrossFit and fitness is. And then we talk for an entire month about like mindset awareness and like where your mind like is kind of stuck in this like singular way of always looking at fucking problems. And I'm like, and what I usually do is I will hold up a picture, and it's probably a picture you guys have seen before, but it's a single picture, but people see two pictures, right? And it's either a young lady or an old lady, right? You guys ever seen the picture? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's I can't remember what the name it is. It might be just the simple old lady, young lady. But if you look at it a certain way, you see an old lady. If you look at it another way, you see a young lady, right? And I'll just hold the picture up and I'm like, all right, everybody tell me what you see, right? And people are like, I see the young lady. And people are like, I see the old lady. And I'm like, now, can you explain to the person who doesn't see what you see why you see what you see? And they'll walk up to the picture and be like, oh, here's the lips, here's the hat, here's the hair, right? And then people will be like, huh, we're looking at the same thing, seeing two completely separate things. And I'm like, and that's how the fucking world works. That's exactly how the world works. Everything is perspective based on experience.
Unless it's the blue dress or the gold dress, I was ready to fist fight people over
What
that.
color was it?
It was fucking blue.
It was blue. I think it was blue too.
Thank you.
I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
I saw both.
I saw. Make a fucking choice, Chris.
I'm sorry. I was like, oh yeah, I can see the gold in it. Yeah, I see the blue in it.
Jesus, Chris wants both teams to win in baseball too.
Nope, just the Royals.
Hey, let's go.
Closet communist.
Everybody
As long as I'm the dictator.
Got Putin on speed dial.
Hey, just because we text every once in a while on Sundays doesn't mean nothing. All
He's
right?
my boy. He's my boy.
He's a nice guy when you get to know him.
Is that what everybody says about the psychopath? He's a great guy once you get to know him.
He's not mad at me. What do I care? That's
They
your
give me
problem.
my head in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
We're good.
You're the one that pissed him off.
I have him over for a barbecue one time, and everybody freaks the fuck out. Like,
One cat in the neighborhood goes missing.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, Josh, thanks for doing the show, man. I appreciate it. Do you have any closing thoughts for us?
This is usually where I begin with my friends like to say, Josh is the type of person who says, why use 5 words when 13 words would do? So this is kind of where this usually ends up. From what you guys are doing, right? Like you guys are a mechanism to get just like better information and conversations out to the public, right? So first off, fucking applaud the shit out of that, right? Like your ability to help the next person in line by just simply hearing words is fantastic, right? All of us have a part in this, right? And I mean like a part in like making our world better. And you don't need to think about, we're not fucking solving world hunger here, right? We're not this big problem we're trying to solve. How about we all just start focusing on what's immediately happening in our worlds, right? Like, and start in your fucking house, right? Like the relationship you have with your kids, with your wife. If those aren't fucking bulletproof, I mean like a ride or die kind of relationship, you don't have the template to go build those strong relationships, because at the end of the day, my dumpster fire of life happens every single day I leave my gym. So I need to get better in the world that I live in. And then I can expand out into my community, into my neighborhood, into more businesses, more opportunities and organizations. But all of us have an opportunity to fix relationships that we want to just hopefully get better, but we don't want to put the work in for. And that's where I encourage everybody to start. Start with those relationships at home, because going home, to a wife that is your fucking ride or die is one of the most fulfilling things that I get to do every day. I get to go home and, like, that's my chick. I've known that chick since she was 17 years old, right? Watching her play tennis in high school, right? Watching her play tennis up at Mo West. Like, that's a ride or die. And now I have 2 beautiful children with her, right? It's a great opportunity to then build the foundation of my life off of that. Luckily, the Marine Corps gave me a pretty good starting point with. And as you go from immediate household to community to neighborhood to whatever the world throws at you, you take those lessons learned from your household and you expand them out in the world, right? And if anybody can do anything tomorrow to make the world just a little fucking shinier, everybody that you've never interacted with gets 3 things. They get love, they get kindness, and they get respect. Every single time you meet somebody new, if you give them those 3 things, they have an opportunity to then reciprocate those 3 things back to you. If they don't reciprocate them, you have a choice for the second interaction you have. You then get to make a choice on how to act maybe a little differently. But the first time, love, kindness, and respect. And you'll be fucking shocked at the individuals who return that back to you. Rather than your judgment of what they are, who they are, where they come from, the curiosity of who they are, what they are, and where they come from. And it's a beautiful world when we all look at it and say, we got a lot of shit in common, guys. We live in a world that loves to be divided right now, but we have a lot of shit in common right now, right? And let's focus on those things because I love you. I'll give you my kindness, and I'm going to respect the shit out of you as a human being, and I don't need you to validate any of that back to me if you don't want to. But the second time I interact with you, I get to make some choices, right? Build those relationships at home as strong as possible because those are the ones that she will be the one, if she goes first or if I go first, it'll be the last conversation I have. That person deserves a lot from me. So do my kids, right? And then as I grow, as I expand, as I meet new people, man, how about a mile deep relationship instead of a mile long relationship? I want the deep, right? Mile deep relationships are what fucking, they make you feel like my boy this morning who dropped in the gym. Dude's like I haven't talked to that guy for probably a year and a half. I mean, physically talked to him, right? Talked to him on the phone, but it's like the second he walked in the door, I was like, man, like that's fucking boy, man. Like we did shit together. And every story comes back, every feeling comes back. And you're just like, yeah, man, that's life. Man, I love that shit. We got to do a better job of taking care of each other right now, though, right? And I think we can all do that, but just kind of getting out of our own way and being like, hey, you know what? This world's awesome. This opportunity is awesome to live in this country. How good is my home life? How good is my social life? And meaning, like, how deep is that relationship? So let's build some strong-ass relationships. Let's continue to support each other as we do this thing. And, man, this world and this country is a fucking great place to be right now.
Awesome.
So which one of you is Ben Affleck and which one of you is Jeremy Renner in your relationship?
I would have to be... Yeah,
you picked it. Took you a minute, didn't it?
I might be the Ben. He might be the Jeremy. Just because Ben's a little better looking. Just because he's more dangerous, though. He's definitely more dangerous.
James,
I
you got to make it quick. He's got somewhere to be at 4:30.
Oh, so I don't get fucking 13 words. He gets 13 words.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's the
13.
guest.
I'm the guest, James.
Oh, okay.
Jesus.
All,
Man,
right.
he's
all about you. That's fine. It's all about you.
Put him back on camera too. Let him react to your
Okay.
your 5 words that you get.
It was a great time.
Nice job, James.
But I also appreciated today how you showed the difference between what could be an addiction, what could be just a gap filler or a need to get something, and how it still can be fun while also benefiting you at the same time. Like you said, your desire and like your want for everybody to show up in the gym with a smile on and maintain that smile while they're there. I think like I was sitting back here, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's right. Like that's how it's supposed to be in anything you do. Like whether you're working out or you're in a relationship or it's your job or it's a hobby. If you ain't fucking smiling, then it ain't. Like, why are you there?
Yeah, why are you there? Life's too goddamn short to do things you don't enjoy. Go do the shit you love to do. Fix a fucking Jeep on the trail around your boys. Go shoot down range with your boys, right? Go home to your wife who you love and sit on the couch and watch a fucking Netflix series together, right? Like, fucking live, man.
That's what we do at night.
Enjoy. Boots on or boots off?
Yeah, she's on that side of the couch. I'm on this, and the 3 dogs are wherever.
Sounds like life.
We text each other.
Hey, baby, how are you?
What's up, girl?
Sup, girl? Did you T9 that to her?
No, because I have a fucking smartphone. I wish. I used to.
Fucking up everybody's messages with your
Yeah.
Android.
No, we have iPhones.
Oh,
Yeah.
space age technology.
That's right. How many words do I get?
You just took them all up. You don't get one.
Damn, I just needed one.
Okay, go ahead. One.
America.
Fucking right.
That's all we talked about.
Love
America.
It, love it when he says it with a dip in too. Just you get the,
It's all right here.
it's just a strong,
America.
It's a strong hand.
America.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's my strong hand.
Fucking guy. This fucking guy.
This guy.
I love movies, man. I can't help it.
Yeah. Well, Josh, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. This was awesome. Everybody, check out Bloc Life, Chalk Up for Burpees, FITNKC.
FITNKC.
FITNKC. We'll put those links in the description.
It's
all that
fit in
good
the letter
stuff.
N, just so you know.
Fit
That's-
N number.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I slur? I said FITNKC.
No, you grew up in Louisiana.
I was gonna say it sounded like Louisiana in that one.
Yeah.
Even the guest said you can't talk worth a shit.
What the goddamn?
He's like the coach from the water boy.
Right there, man.
Right there,
I
man.
tell you what, home where you make it.
Homeboy, like see homeboy's naked. Don't help me none.
I'm just telling you, if you're struggling, reach out. All right, call somebody.
We're here for you.
Fuck yes, I'm going to start saying it like that.
Here we go.
I am so going to start saying it like that. I feel an Instagram reel coming. If you're struggling, reach out. There are people who care. There are organizations and resources. If you know somebody that's struggling, reach out to them. Let them know you care. Let them know what resources are available. If you guys don't know what resources are available, send us an email, drop a comment, whatever. We'll get you hooked up. So thanks for stopping by. Take care of yourself.
America.